Raider Nation, what is going on, man? We are so excited to bring you guys tonight's show. We've got a great show lined up for you guys, and today we're going to be previewing the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders in a matchup that we have been waiting for since the beginning of the offseason. This is a continuation of Week 18, and I'm fired up about it. We're going to give a moment for the chat to pull up, so I'm going to address the chat real quick. Van City Raider says, "What is good, my brother Ray? Hope all is well." I hope all is well with you, Van City. I hope your wife is doing good. I hope the family's doing well. Sean Johnson's in the building. He says, "Hello, Raider Ray and Farrell." Man, we're fired up to bring you guys today's show, man. We got a lot of great things lined up. Everybody that's in the chat, man, go smash the like button. Let other Raider fans know where you're at tonight. We're on the road to 1,000, you guys. So we're like 36 subscribers away, I believe, from hitting 1,000. So if you're new to the show tonight, I would highly recommend supporting this channel and smashing that subscribe button and smashing the like button, and head over to Pharaoh's channel. I'm going to put the link here later, and you guys just go over there, subscribe to his channel. He does great work, and I'm very grateful that he decided to join the show with me tonight. We got Robert Pena in the building. He says, "Salute Sean Johnson, Van City, my brother." Halo Raider in the building, everybody. So shout out to Halo. Robert says 559 in the house. Robert Pena says, "Pharaoh, salute." Auntie Six is in the building. Said, "What's up, my brother from another mother?" And let's do it for the one time, Raiders. Facts, boy. Sean Johnson says Keelan Cole is back. I'm fired up about it. Chef B says, "What's up, Raiders?" Man, GA Patriots in the building. All right, people are starting to pull up. Howdy, Ray. I'm late, but I'm here. It is all good, man. So we have a great show lined up, and in one moment, I'm going to introduce my co-host tonight, man, and it is Pharaoh NFL. So, Pharaoh, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. Hey, man, I appreciate you for having me on again, man. Hopefully we'll make this a regular thing. But we got a lot to be excited about, man. It's the Raiders versus Chargers this week. First game of the season. We got a lot to talk about. Salute to the chat. Salute to the nation, man. Hey, man, it's going to be a good show today.
Man, today is about bringing the energy, man. This is everything that we've been waiting for, building up to this Sunday. We have a heck of a game lined up. The Raiders versus the Chargers. Like I said, we're piggybacking off of that Week 18 game, which was electrifying, probably arguably game of the year, and it punched the Raiders' ticket into the postseason. And look, both of these teams have improved this offseason. Both of these teams are looking forward to this game and kicking off the season the right way, getting a huge win in the division. Pharaoh, how are you feeling about this Sunday, and are you excited that football is finally back?
I'm real excited, you know what I mean? And just looking into this preview, man, it's gonna be a real good game, man. At first I was thinking maybe it's a possibility that the Raiders could just run away with it, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than a lot of people think. The Chargers are gonna be fired up. Like you just said, that last game of the season, they lost. They had the whole offseason just to think about that, whether that was the players, the coaching staff, management, and it shows. And we're gonna get into that soon.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat, man, let people know where you're at tonight. Let them know that Pharaoh and Raider Ray are live, and that we're going to be bringing the energy all night tonight. So in the chat, man, everybody's chopping it up. We got salute to Pharaoh. We got GA Patriot Game Week. NorCal Raider says salute Raider Ray. Salute to you, my friend. Snoop is in the building. Snoop says Raider Ray, Pharaoh NFL, Raider Nation. That's salute. A fact, man. I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying the show, man. Sean says, "Salute Ray and Pharaoh. The Raider equinox is upon us." Let's hope, man.
Shout out to Wasted.
Van City says, "Yo, listen up, nation. One of my brothers and a man, a friend off this YouTube is 37 away from 1K. Y'all know what to do. Hit that bell." And that's facts, man. We had a huge show last week, which is why we're piggybacking off with a great show again. And we're only 37 away from 1,000 subscribers. And if you subscribe to me, you need to head over to my man Pharaoh NFL. We're going to get ready to kick off the show. Here's YouTube for Pharaoh NFL. You guys go over there and subscribe to his channel.
Appreciate
that, man. We have a huge matchup this week, man. So we're going to be talking about, first and foremost, the offensive side of the football. Specifically, man, let's focus on the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders have a big matchup going against a really good LA Chargers defense. There's a lot of things that have to go right for the Raiders, and there's a lot of things that they need to execute to have a big game tonight. What are some of the matchups? What are some of the things on the offensive side of the football that you're looking forward to this game?
Well, as far as the Raiders, are you asking the Raiders matchup?
As far as the Raiders go.
Well, I would say whoever Devante Adams is going to go up against. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter who's back there, but especially this game because J.C. Jackson it seems like he's not going to be suiting up. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, Michael Davis is going to be the other guy that's going to be starting if J.C. Jackson doesn't suit up. And I believe I'm going to give you the exact numbers here. The PFF grade for J.C. Jackson is 82.6. I know a lot of guys ain't really big on PFF, but it is a big difference from Michael Davis, and he's at 54.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a huge difference. Even if you don't agree with PFF, that's just telling you straight up that two different types of players. So I think Adams needs to play big. He needs to play like that contract. You know what I mean? That's going to be one of the keys to the game. I would say one of my favorite matchups of the game. And then obviously from there, our O-line. You know what I mean? Like, how are we going to be protecting Derek Carr? That's going to be the biggest, obviously. You know what I mean? When you got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, who on that right side is going to step up? Illuminor. We've seen the depth chart was released today. It was official. Illuminor is going to be the starting right tackle. I guess Parham is not going to be a starter. They're going to ease him. They're going to ease him into that starting lineup, possibly. You know what I mean? I like young guys starting, but at the same time, I like coaches who recognize that some guys need some time to develop, and I think that's what they're doing with Parham. But I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping that our O-line and obviously our big marquee guys step up, especially when they have hurt players in the secondary. Adams needs to attack that corner. He needs to attack whoever it is back there. It doesn't really matter, but if there's an injury, we got to take advantage of that. But I think O-line protecting Derek Carr, especially on that right side, is going to be huge because, you know, we don't know we don't know what the Chargers are going to have up their sleeve. We're going to try to see what they're going to do today, but you know, they're going to try to go after whoever's on that right side.
Yeah, and for me in particular, look, the defensive coordinator, Ronaldo Hill, he runs this 3-4, and he really runs a too high safety shell to really give these quarterbacks a fit, right? And I believe at the line of scrimmage, you're going to see a lot of disguised coverages from the Chargers. They're going to be bringing guys up to the line of scrimmage, peeling them off back in coverage, showing man coverage, but really playing a cover 2 shell. They're going to be doing a lot of things to confuse Derek Carr. With there only being one football to go around, they're going to try to get after Derek Carr and disrupt his timing and chemistry with the wide receivers, which is going to be a crucial aspect. You brought up the offensive line. Jermaine Illuminor really needs to step up on the right side, and I think that he will. But it's going to come by a series of events, right? It's going to be putting a tight end out there to help chip. It's going to get a running back involved. It's going to get a bootleg play action to get Derek Carr moving his feet a little bit and resetting that pocket. There's going to have to be a lot of creativity when it talks about Josh McDaniels creating a successful offense going against the Chargers. But because as we're going to get into it, the Chargers have made a lot of additions on the defensive side of the football. I mean, you brought up Devante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and a key matchup, in my opinion, is Darren Waller versus Derwin James. And I think that if Derwin James comes down and tries to really take Waller out of the game, it's going to open up a lot of things for these wide receivers. So I'm curious to see how the Chargers deploy their attack. I would imagine that they're going to back off in coverage a little bit and allow the wide receivers to try to make good, solid tackles and not let the Raiders break loose on them. The Raiders have to run the football effectively. Josh Jacobs has to get involved. What are you expecting about Josh Jacobs in this ball game?
I think he needs to have a big game. I think he doesn't have to have like a Hall of Fame game. He doesn't need to have 200 yards, but he needs to have a game enough where they can keep the defense honest at the end of the day. And this is a San Diego Chargers defense that was 30th ranked last year. So we need to we're going to get into like the upgrades that they had over the offseason, but I don't care about those upgrades. They got to prove it on the football field. And last year they were a defense that couldn't stop the run. And so we need to attack that defense. We need to attack that defense, and Josh Jacobs, he needs to step up. And I think him stepping up and having a solid game at least will keep the defense honest. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to give that much time for Carr to make a pass, that much time for Adams to run his route and Renfrow and Waller, and the list can go on. So that's why I think that it's going to be big for Josh Jacobs to have a good game.
Yeah, and I think to carry off of Josh Jacobs, to really help this offensive line situation as well. We've seen it all the entire course of the preseason. Let's get Brandon Bolden involved in some screens. I know he's been in the system for 9 years. We didn't see any of him in the preseason. Josh McDaniels knows what he has in the 32-year-old running back. Get him involved in the passing game. You know what I mean? Get these guys Amir Abdullah on third down. Get these guys the football. Get the ball out quickly. And the thing I like about Josh McDaniels' scheme and system is in this offensive scheme, they have routes on hand that are designed to beat the coverages of the defense. So it's not like how it was under John Gruden, where he goes up to the line of scrimmage and starts changing the plays from a list of 4 different plays. Instead, he can go up to the line of scrimmage and they can readjust the routes. And I think what's going to be good is Derek Carr's chemistry with Devante Adams in that situation. I think these guys are going to be able to get up to the line of scrimmage, make the corrections that they need to make, and really exploit the Chargers secondary.
Facts, 100%. I think we all know Derek Carr. The best part of his game is his mind. I mean, the fact that he can go up to the line of scrimmage, he could just read the defense. But what was missing from Derek Carr is actually having an offensive coordinator, offensive mind on his side to help him out. You know what I mean? It at the end of the day, this is a team game. You know, and we've seen how John Gruden was mismanaging short yardage situations, red zone, and we're gonna get into all of that stuff. But with Josh McDaniels, if he is all the hype that he is, he's gonna help him. He's gonna help Derek Carr be even more prepared than Derek Carr is already. You know, we all know Derek Carr is a student of the game, but you're giving him an offensive play caller genius in Josh McDaniels. We're gonna see another part of Derek Carr's game that we haven't seen before. That's what I'm thinking, and that hopefully we can see that on Sunday.
And that's what I'm fired up about, because Josh McDaniels is going into a situation where the Chargers have nothing on film. They have no idea what the Raiders' formations are going to be, what they're going to be running, what their adjustments look like, anything. That goes offensive side of the football, defensive side of the football. Now, they can go and study past film, but that's not with the current roster that the Raiders have. So I believe that the Raiders need to strike fast. And we kind of talked about it before the show, but I want to see the Raiders honestly receive the football first this game. Typically, I'm a defer type of guy, and I want the ball coming out of halftime. But I think in this game, in specifically, Pharaoh, I want to see the Raiders come off to a hot start, because with the type of defensive talent that the Chargers have, if the Raiders can strike quickly and have the Chargers on their heels the entire game, I think it bodes well for the Raiders. The amount of unpredictability that they can do, creating balance when it comes to getting the ball to Devante and Hunter and Darren, getting a good healthy dose, especially that first series of Josh Jacobs. Getting involved in the screen game. I think if we can put 7 points up on the Chargers quickly, it can set the tone for the Raiders offense.
Yeah, I like that, man. You got to be aggressive. You got to be aggressive when your back's against the wall, because we're going to be on the road or at a home game, however way you want to look at it. But at the same time, we're going to be in LA, and I get that. I'm with you 100%. You got to be aggressive. You got to have that aggressive mindset. Part of having that aggressive mindset is being the first one to hit someone in the mouth. So that's basically what you're saying.
Yep. So Snoop says, here's my question. Since we're kind of talking about the wide receivers, he said, here's my question for you fellas. Who do you think is going to eat Sunday from the receiving core?
I mean, other than the obvious Devante Adams, I think Renfro I think everybody's gonna get theirs. I think everybody's gonna get theirs.
I low key think Darren Waller might have a game. All this talk about the contract, all this talk about missing practice. He's kind of like that. He's not under the radar because the NFL knows about him, right? He's obviously a top 3 tight end in the National Football League. But with all this noise going on about it, I think he's going to come out here and make a statement game, especially in the red zone. I'm hoping to see some creativity out of Josh McDaniels when it comes to getting Foster Moreau and Darren Waller more involved in the offense, especially when the field starts to tighten up a little bit. And look, Chad, we got 38 people in the building, man. Smash that like button. Let other people know where you're at. Go subscribe to Pharaoh. Subscribe to this channel. I think we're like 36 away. And my moderators, let me know when we start getting close to that 1,000 mark, because I really do believe that we have the potential to hit it tonight, man. We're looking forward to this show. We got a lot to talk about, y'all. So, man, let's get to some of this in the chat, man. Robert says we need to pick up 2 start-worthy offensive linemen. DeMarcus says if our offensive line gets going with the run game, it's going to get ugly. X factor, Josh Jacobs. He's got T. Billy. That's kind of interesting. Able to spread the offense a little bit. Van City says, did you see Stephen A. Smith going off about our O-line today? Man is a clown. Bro, I'm sure Pharaoh's the same. I don't tune into all that. I really don't.
I don't, man, because all they're doing is this. They're just trying to keep. They want attention. They want attention at the end of the day, but they're not going to give you any substance. And that's why we're here. We're here to give you substance. The Raider content creators, the Raider beat writers, anybody Raider related that you know day in day out is going to be talking about your team. That's who you want to listen to, not the national media who talks about like 30 different sports. They're not going to give you really a good substance when they're talking about your team.
I like this from GA Patriot. I think McDaniels comes out and pounds the rock the first half, establish the run game and pass it off of that. And it's a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, I believe a key part of this game is going to get Josh Jacobs and all these running backs involved heavily. You've got to get these defensive ends thinking. You can't just let them pin their ears back and get after Derek Carr. Derek Carr has had a bad pass when it comes to Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Matter of fact, between Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack last season in 23 games, they had 91 pressures, 16 and a half sacks. And the biggest problem with that situation, you guys, is Derek Carr has 76 career fumbles. It's something that he's struggled with. So in 8 seasons going into his 9th, 76 career fumbles, that's got to get cleaned up. This game, we cannot be turning the football over. Now, Derek Carr has been pretty safe and good against the Chargers when it comes to not throwing interceptions. However, when it comes to holding on to the football, because we know at some point in this football game, Derek Carr is going to go down. He's going to get sacked. So he has to stay disciplined, holding on to the football and not giving the Chargers defense an opportunity to get a turnover to go and put points on the board.
And I'm going to go back to what we made a point about earlier is that run game. We got to get that run game. Yep. We need to get in third and manageable. We need to get in second and manageable. We need to get in good down and distance. So then we don't put Derek Carr in those situations. I mean, it's going to happen. Chargers are going to make plays, but the thing is, you want to minimize those plays. You don't want that to happen every drive, because at the end of the day, Mac and Joey Bosa, they get paid too, and they're one of the best to do it out here. So I get that 100%.
No, yeah, and everybody's saying run, screen, and you know what? While those are going to be aspects to the game, man, Raider Nation, you need to be fired up because Devante Adams is in the silver and black, and there's going to be times in this football game where he just routes somebody up nasty, and I cannot wait. Like, it is firing me up. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, like I was looking at my notes, man, and you brought up Devante Adams, and if Michael Davis starts the game, I wrote down barbecue chicken. shout out Shaquille O'Neal, man. But it's gonna be barbecue chicken for Devante Adams. If Michael Davis is gonna be the guy guarding him, come on, man.
And he's gonna move Devante all over the line. He's gonna move him inside. He's gonna move him outside. He's gonna move from Z to X. He's gonna. I mean, and a formation that I'm really looking forward to if they do go 12 personnel is, you could have Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Devante out on the field. And when you have a limited package of defenders when it comes to defensive backs, and you've got that type of heavy formation, you've got a lot of one-on-one matchups. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of teams, if any, in the National Football League that's going to match up too well against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Nah, not at all, man. Not at all. But man, I want to get into some of their tendencies, man. Like as a team last year, I mean, this is the first game of the season, so we don't have. It's not like this is halfway in the season and we can give you tendencies of the previous opponent. What we can do is that we can actually look at last season, and this is the same coaching staff, the same team from last year. Obviously, they upgraded some positions, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I thought it was very interesting that as far as percentages goes, they pretty much pass the ball 62.5% of the time. So they like to pass the ball. They do have Austin Eckler back there, so he can run the ball, but he's also receiving back. Now, you can also argue that maybe they didn't have another back there that was a little bigger or physical that they could run between the tackles, which they addressed in the draft with Isaiah Spiller. And then obviously recently they brought in Sony Michael. But at the end of the day, they like to pass the ball. They got Justin Herbert back there. The strength in this team is the receiving core and Justin Herbert and that O-line and obviously protecting Herbert. So I think their strength plays to our strength, if that makes sense.
It does.
So if they want to pass the ball, if they don't want to commit to that run game, I think our defense will be ready for it. Obviously, Chandler Jones, aka Max Crosby, they're gonna want those third and longs. They're gonna want those second and longs when Patrick Graham is gonna be dialing up blitzes where they can get those one-on-ones for Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. So I think it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, moving to that defensive side of the football, man. I mean, Nate Hobbs has been a topic of conversation, right? With the releasing or the trade of Trayvon Mullen going over to the Arizona Cardinals, it really kind of opened up a spot in this defensive back room. And we kind of talked about it our last live show, is that what this actually means this coaching staff thinks about a guy like Nate Hobbs. Now, last season, he allowed 0.74 yards per coverage snap, which put him among 4th among the entire National Football League, you guys. So not only just rookies, but over all defensive backs. In the matchup against Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, he was targeted 4 times in 2 games, and he allowed 3 receptions for only 25 yards. So, I mean, he absolutely locked down whoever he was covering. And I think it's going to be a key matchup because Keenan Allen is known to move inside to the slot. He's known to move to the outside. And if you put a guy like Hobbs on Keenan Allen and have him shadow him, and if you can take Keenan Allen out of the game for the most part and let a Rock Ya-Sin and an Anthony Averett focus on guarding a Mike Williams, if the Raiders can get after Austin Eckler and stop the running attack of the Chargers and don't let them create a balanced offense, that is going to be a crucial part of this game. Is the guys up front have to go against this good Chargers offensive line, and they have to create havoc when it comes to run defense. I'd imagine Patrick Graham is just preaching to his guys about how they need to stop the run this week. And if you can slow Austin Eckler down, both in the receiving game and in the running game, the Raiders have a real shot here, Farrell.
No, 100%. Just to piggyback on what I said earlier, as far as like, them, the Chargers being more likely to pass and to run the ball, it's not like they don't want to run the ball. Austin Eckler is actually a good back.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he had some solid games last year. He had a good year last year. But the thing is that just reading between the lines, it seems like their offensive coordinator likes to pass the ball a little bit more. Justin Herbert wants to sling that rock. Hey, if you want to go ahead and do that, hey, beware. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like Max Crosby and Chandler Jones is going to be back there. I mean, literally, they were middle of the pack as far as their running offense. I think they were 21st last year. But at the end of the day, like I think it's going to take a team effort to stop Justin Herbert. And man, like I think the defense is, I think our strength on defense is going to play, like I said, it's going to play to the strength of their offense.
And now look, Raider Nation, you're gonna get real takes over here. I mean, we're gonna keep both aspects of both of these teams 100% honest. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. The Raiders are in for a tough football game on Sunday. This isn't just gonna be some walk in the park. The Raiders have to show up to play football. The Chargers are no slouches, man. Breaking down the film on the offensive and defensive side of this football team, these guys have added depth on all levels. They go and get a Khalil Mack. They got a Joey Bosa. They've got a Kyle Van Noy. These guys have real football players on the defensive side of the football, and the Raiders have got to show up, specifically the defense. The defense has got to show up and be ready to play some football because this is not going to be an easy game, and everybody that's looking past the Chargers are being a fool. The Raiders need to be dialed in, they need to be focused, and they need to be ready to go come Sunday.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought it was interesting, man, like just looking at the Chargers and like we alluded, like we were talking about earlier, how it like they lost that last game of the season. They had a whole offseason to think about that loss. Literally, they could have easily been in the playoffs if it was a tie. And I'm not mad at it. I'm glad that we were the team to beat them, and then they couldn't make it to the playoffs. That's like, man, I love that as a Raider fan.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they did make upgrades. They literally signed 7 defensive free agents and committed at least $59 million fully guaranteed. So they mean business, meaning guys like, he wasn't a free agent, but it started off with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. You got Sebastian Joseph Day, Kyle Van Noy, and we were talking about this earlier, Morgan Fox, guys like that. They've upgraded to positions of weaknesses, places where they needed to upgrade it, they upgraded. And on top of that, places where they didn't need to upgrade, if you look at their draft, Zion Johnson, we were talking about how like that dude's a beast, a monster. That O-line just got even better. You know what I mean? So this is why I was trying to tell everybody that, hey, you know what? And I know you agree as well. This is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, because this is a talented team, a real talented team.
Yeah, from the left tackle to the right guard, the Chargers actually have a really good offensive line. I mean, this Zion Johnson kid had a 99% coverage grade in college. When you go and watch his preseason film, this guy's the real deal. Zion Johnson is a real deal football player. The right tackler position, that is where the Raiders need to go out there and tackle him. You brought up the defensive acquisitions: Morgan Fox, Sebastian Joseph Day, Troy Redder, linebacker, Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson is a former Patrick Graham guy, a 2-gap space eater run defender.
Mm-hmm.
But really, Morgan Fox, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Troy Redder all come from the Los Angeles Rams and have experience with Coach Saley in this scheme. So these aren't going to be guys, you guys, that are learning on the fly. They're going to come into this system, and this coaching staff is going to know how to utilize them and put them in the positions to succeed, which is why I believe that this run defense of the Chargers is actually going to take a step up. So the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, this is going to be we're going to learn a lot of things about this Raiders offensive line, both with their ability to run the football effectively in the power gap scheme, and also when it comes to the defensive side of the ball of stopping the run.
Yeah, man. And let's ask why they made these defensive upgrades. One of the main reasons, and I know you mentioned that they made some upgrades and it's going to improve their defense and all this type of, but we got to see it on the football field. And when I looked up a stat here, one of the worst parts of this, the reason why San Diego, or I said San Diego, LA, doesn't matter. The Chargers, right? The reason why they didn't make the playoffs last year was because of their defense, and specifically their third down defense and their run defense. They're 30th ranked in the run, and then also on third down, as far as percentages goes, they were the worst team in the NFL. They could not get off the field. So there's a reason why they made an aggressive move to get Khalil Mack. You know what I mean? A guy that's pretty good against the run and pretty good against the pass as far as pass rushing goes. There's a reason why they went after J.C. Jackson, because they were desperate, because they lost against us. Because if you look at it, the numbers don't make any sense. Why did we beat them? I mean, we're the Raiders. You know, of course, we're the Raiders. We're going to win big games. But literally, they averaged, 27.9 points per game? Their offense wasn't really a big part of why they didn't make the playoffs. It was really their defense. And to me, that's something that we need to attack. We need to figure out. And I'm sure McDaniels has a thick card. He got something up his sleeve. He's going to attack this defense. I also, and we're going to get into that a little bit. I was trying to, if you want to get into showing the box score of when the Patriots and the Chargers kind of played each other, we can see. I think I have that pulled out. Let me go ahead and share it for you.
Okay. And I'm going to address one of these chats. Chronicles of the Black Hole says, if Carr gets sacked by Bosa while on the ground, lift his face mask and throat punch him, or would that be wrong? OG, it is never wrong to throat punch a Charger. Pause. Last time I checked, we made the playoffs. Chargers went out and got Mac to beat us, but we got better. We both got better. GA Patriot says the Chargers forgot to upgrade their weaknesses, coaching. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, man, because there is a whole topic to talk about. Jack Ken is in the building. He says Raider Ray and Farrell, absolutely 100, a great combo. Salute, brothers. So I'm going to share with you guys what Farrell just brought up here. The box score against the Chargers, 27-24. Mac Jones, 18-35, 217 yards, no touchdowns. Damian Harris had a heck of a game. Ramondre Stevenson did okay. But look at how he got the running backs involved. Brandon Bolden averaging 6.5 yards a carry.
Keep them honest. You got to keep them honest.
Got to keep them on toes. Play action, bootlegging, get Derek Carr using his feet a little bit. You know, when Derek Carr actually gets his feet moving, he's not a bad quarterback. He really isn't. And it's almost like he gets a little bit of confidence. He doesn't do it a lot, but I think specifically in week 1, a lot like we've seen in the Baltimore Ravens game, if you guys remember last year, able to get him out of the pocket and scheme some guys open down the field and take those shots. Now that you have the weapons that you have on the outside, Darren Waller's, and you have the speed of a T. Billy, you've got a DJ Turner, which is another guy who's going to be really creative in this offense. Mm-hmm. There's an ability that this could be a very similar score to what we see on Sunday.
And if you can even actually go to, let's look at the stats, team stats.
Okay.
Mac Jones didn't really have a particularly big game, but hey, I feel like Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Mac Jones, and obviously he has better weapons at his disposal. So, you know, we're not going to look at every little thing about this game, but at the end of the day, like if we can, is it me? Do I have to click on it for you?
It's you. Yeah, you got to do it.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Let's look at the stats here. Go. Okay. Let's see if I scroll down here a little bit. Okay. So look at the third down efficiency right here by the Patriots. Almost at 50%, which is pretty good on That's third down. If you're able, you know what I mean? So this is something that we need to do. We need to establish. We need to test out, because I understand they got Khalil Mack, but we're not going to just go off his reputation. We're not going to go off J.C. Jackson's reputation. They got to show it on the football field, and this is a team that struggled last year to get off the football field and to stop the run.
Another aspect that when you're scrolling down, look at the total plays. What that tells me is that they're able to run the ball effectively, convert on third down, and keep the possession. And it kept the Chargers at 58 total plays. And look at the sacks allowed. That's crucial. Time of possession. Look at that. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a very similar game plan that I think that the Raiders are going to be taking into Sunday.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show that real quick. It's obviously it's a different team, different game, but you can take a little bit of you could take some hints to how the Chargers were struggling last year. And that was against Josh McDaniels. You know, Josh McDaniels coached that offense. And if you look at that offense, they really didn't have too much.
No.
You know what I mean? Mac Jones is an okay QB. I mean, he's solid. He's solid. I'm not going to take too much away from him. He played solid last year, but he was coached up. He was coached up by Josh McDaniels. They didn't really have a lot of weapons. So now you give Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr, this running back room, this receiving room, this Darren Waller. You know what I mean? That's just going to make that much. Everything's going to be better as far as play calling. Everything is good. He's going to have so much at his disposal as a play caller.
It reminds me a lot of that 2007, New England Patriots regime. And you can make the case that, look, Josh McDaniels has not had a quarterback like DC since Tom Brady. And right now in their career, you could say that DC potentially has more upside than Tom Brady, obviously. He's still got a cannon of an arm. Very good when it comes to IQ, just needs to limit the turnovers. I honestly think this is a fantastic matchup. If you remember the Rob Gronkowskis, the Aaron Hernandez, the Julian Edelman, all those types of weapons, it feels real similar to what the Raiders have going on over here. And Josh McDaniels has a huge opportunity to be among the top offenses in the National Football League. And an aspect of talking about the defense, and by the way, we got 44 people in the building. We are almost at 50. Go hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We love having you guys, and we're going to try to make this a weekly thing. So subscribe to the channel and move over to Pharaoh NFL and subscribe to his channel. But I wanted to take an aspect of Justin Herbert, and he's the number 6 quarterback in the NFL when kept clean at a 91.6 QBR. Now, what was pretty interesting is that when he's blitzed and under pressure, he drops down to 15th with a 53.9% QBR, which leads me into the Raiders have to figure out a situation, and we've seen it in the preseason. Even Patrick Graham getting the defensive backs, getting Jonathan Abram down in the box, aggressive blitz packages, get Devine Diablo in there on a blitz, get Jonathan Abram involved behind the line of scrimmage and involved in the run defense. I think Jonathan Abram's going to be crucial when it comes to kind of containing Austin Eckler, and you really want a solid tackler when you're going against him, because Austin Eckler is one of those running backs that are among the elite in the NFL at making guys miss. So I'm really curious to see Anthony Averett in the nickel, you know what I mean, on those blitz packages with his 4.3 speed, getting involved in disrupting Herbert. If the Raiders can disrupt Herbert, it really makes a more significant jump for them to find some success.
And it's not just blitzing that Patrick Graham likes to do. I think that he likes to blitz to create one-on-one opportunities. Yeah. And when you got guys as talented as Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, that's like I said earlier, barbecue chicken. It's easy. He's easy money. You know what I mean? Chandler Jones is how many time Pro Bowler? You got Max Crosby, second team All Pro. You give them one-on-one, most likely they're going to win that matchup. So that's what I like about Patrick Graham. It's just not all out blitzes and someone's going to be wide open. It's actually, we're going to have solid amount of coverage behind that front seven, but then at the same time we're getting one-on-ones.
Right. And Matt says, can they stop the power blocking 2 tight end sets? Can they stop Tay, Waller, and Renfro? I think not. No. And it's not going to be about stopping them. It's going to be about slowing them down. And can they slow them down enough to keep points off of the scoreboard? A huge aspect to this game is being efficient in the red zone. Josh McDaniels is one of the most creative minds when it comes to dialing up red zone plays. It's going to be crucial, and I'm really excited to see that Devante Adams, Derek Carr chemistry. Derek Carr throws a beautiful back shoulder fade. One of the best assets of Devante Adams' game is the ability to catch those back shoulder fades. To him and Aaron Rodgers connected with that a lot over there in Green Bay, and I think that's going to just be a seamless transition for here with the Raiders. Hunter Renfrow is going to get lost in that mix a little under the radar red zone weapon. A lot of people don't think about it because they're always looking for size when it comes to red zone option, but it's not necessarily always about the size, Raider Nation. It's about your ability to create separation in the end zone, working with a game of inches here. And Hunter Renfrow is magnificent at creating a little bit of space in the back of the end zone. So really, the Raiders need to really be efficient when it comes to red zone. Jack Cana says, so glad 2 of my brothers are doing this weekly.
You still there?
Yep, I'm here. GA Patriot says, Divine, Ray talking about my linebacker now. Hey, listen, Divine's just got to step up. Me and Pharaoh were talking about it before the show, and Divine Diablo allowed a 53.7 coverage grade. You know what I mean? 14 to 16 targets, 174 yards, 1 PBU. That's 87.5% completion percentage. And I think a lot of us really got blown away with Divine Diablo because the whole Corey Littleton situation was so atrocious that when Divine Diablo finally got reps, something was an upgrade. And we got fascinated with Divine Diablo. Now, I do like Divine Diablo. He does need to develop his coverage a little bit. We were quick to throw that title on him that he's this coverage linebacker. He still has some things to work on. Matter of fact, his run defense was 71.9. He's actually pretty aggressive for an undersized linebacker. He really is gap disciplined, gets his head down there, not afraid to make a play on the football. So how are you feeling about Divine Diablo in this linebacker situation?
To be honest with you, I was in that group. I thought that like he didn't do too bad of a job against the pass, but I guess when you look at the numbers and the film, he wasn't doing that good. And I guess I got caught up to, and not just, it's not even Corey Littleton. It's been a while since we had a good coverage linebacker. It's been a long time. It's been an issue. How many years have we kind of watched Raider games where tight ends and running backs are just abusing our linebackers because they can't cover the pass? So when Divine Diablo came in there, he actually kind of added a little bit of spark, and he's a young guy. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, this might be an upgrade, but you might be right. I think that, they might have to slowly but surely kind of bring him in on early downs, obviously, and put him in manageable situations. And then from there, you put your guys like Jayon Brown, who's kind of like the opposite of Divine Diablo. He's good against the pass, but against the run, he's not that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would imagine it's going to be Abram, that 4-2-5 set. When it gets to third and long, I'd imagine it's going to be Jayon Brown and Jonathan Abram in the mix there. Just gives you a little bit of a blanket when it comes to coverage, and then having your safeties Trayvon Merrick, Daron Harmon. There's going to be a lot of 3 safety looks in this game, and Daron Harmon and Trayvon Merrick are 2 guys that I think are going completely under the radar, and I absolutely love it. The front 7 and the defensive backs are getting a lot of talk, but a kid like Trayvon Merrick going into the year 2 under Patrick Graham, I really think you're going to see him get involved, and it wouldn't surprise me if he makes a crucial turnover this game. Really solid tackler, but I think in this system this year, he's going to have the ability to get his hands on a lot more footballs and be a lot more dynamic of a player, which is why the Raiders went out and got him in the second round. Jack Kennett says, Ray, I disagree. Keep Hobbs in the slot and Avery on the outside, even though he gave up almost 700 yards last season. And I want to kind of push back a little bit. Look, Jack, wherever Keenan Allen goes, I want Nate Hobbs to be that shadow corner, okay? You limit and take Keenan Allen out of this, and you force them to force the ball to Mike Williams. You put your best coverage corner on their best receiving option, and then you really try to contain Eckler, and I think that gives the Raiders the best chances of winning the football game. And then look, if you want to, I don't think moving Hobbs to the outside is necessarily a bad thing at all. Typically, when you see these guys develop in the nickel, they get bumped outside, and this is the course of elite corners in the NFL. Typically, a lot of them start on the inside and they work their way out. And the more that you can do in a defensive scheme, Jack, the more efficient and the better you are to this defense.
And then Jack, too, at the end of the day, it's not even about what we think, too. It's the coaching staff. The coaching staff believes in Hobbs. They traded Mullen because they believe in Hobbs so much. You know what I mean? I don't think they make that trade if they weren't too sure about, Hobbs. If if they felt like he needed a little bit more time to develop, they felt like he was ready, that he was making enough plays for them to believe in him. You know what I mean? So I think that at the end of the day, they believe in Hobbs. I think with Hobbs, I think they're going to move him around. So I think he's going to be in the slot. I think he's going to be on the outside. I feel like he's going to be that chess piece on that defense, and they're going to do that with certain players. And I think Hobbs is going to be one of those guys where I think Patrick Graham kind of moves around because he's that talented to just be putting in one spot, So
Chef B says, what do you think about Klee being higher than Kuntz on the depth chart?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like Kuntz was all the way back there.
I think this is a lot of
was
smoke
all
and
the way
mirrors,
back.
though.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, like Kuntz is going to be in the game in obvious passing situations, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think he's gonna come in on third and longs. He's gonna give guys like Chandler Jones a breather every now and then, and it's a third and long situation. You got a third pass rusher in Kuntz. Or if it's a situation where they want to have all of them on the field, they're going to bring in Kuntz. So it's not a big deal because it's not like he was starting. Our starters are obviously clear, and Max Crosby and everybody else are going to be role players. And I think, to me, in my opinion, Kuntz's role on this team should be as a pass rusher off the bench, first pass rusher off the bench.
Yeah, and I think on early downs, especially going up against an Austin Eckler, you're going to see Klee setting an edge. You'll probably have Chandler Jones coming around the end. You're going to have your nose tackles. You're going to have the big guys in. You're going to have the Andrew Billings, the Jonathan Hankins. This is going to be predominantly stopping the run on early downs. And then when you get in those passing situations, Malcolm Kuntz is going to be one of those under the radar, big time weapons for the Raiders. I mean, when you start talking about the right tackle situation for the Chargers, if you can put a Kuntz on the outside shoulder of a Max Crosby, regardless if they're getting chipped or a running back, you have two premier edge rushers that are able to create some pressure when it comes to getting to the quarterback. And I think that the Raiders are they have an opportunity to create some havoc against Justin Herbert. And Malcolm Kuntz, he's just one of those guys, that could explode onto the scene, 6 to 8 sack kind of guy.
So why don't we just go get into it? Let's get into like the keys to the game.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Kick it off.
So I'm just going to obviously not thinking about it. I mean, there's obviously keys on defense, but I was thinking about offense all the way because I was thinking about that crazy D line that the Chargers have.
Right.
But I think that early on, just like you said, if they can get the ball first, I need them to establish that quick passing game, establish the run, and then obviously take timely shots. This is a game where coaching matters. Coaching matters, like especially with a team like the Chargers and as talented as they are. And let's be honest, our O-line it's not the most talented in the world. So what we can do is to offset that is coaching. And I know you were talking about earlier, like we're going to be seeing a lot of screens. We should be seeing a lot of misdirections. We need to keep this D-line off balance. They can't know exactly what's going to happen because right now we're not that talented up front for us to just drop back and be like, we could do whatever we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have to just change it up a little bit, throw them off. And I feel like we can do that enough, then we can be effective, especially we got the talent that we have on the outside, the inside, our skill position players, they're going to do some damage. But at the same time, I think coaching is going to play a big part if we're going to win this game.
Yeah, taking the shots are going to be calculated this game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're going to limit the pass protection for these guys, especially when you're trying to figure out the best 5 out there. You're trying to see what you necessarily have when it comes to pass pro, and you're going to get a good preview of what the Raiders have up front this game, especially if Jermaine Illuminor could hold his own against Khalil or Joey Bosa. Now, look, when Jermaine Illuminor lets up a sack, everybody doesn't need to come for the throw to Jermaine Illuminor. He's going up against elite product on the Chargers defense. This is a no joke defense, Raider Nation. So if Illuminor gives up a sack, if Lester Cotton gives up a sack, there's no need to panic because those things are going to happen. Okay. It's going to be calculated shots by the Raiders, and you're going to see a multitude of things, right? You're going to have the quick passes. You're going to have the heavy I formation runs. You're going to try to get Carr moving his legs and throwing on the run, attacking the middle of the field, which the Raiders are going to be really good at doing this year. The Chargers really are going to have to game plan for the Raiders because I honestly think that the Raiders have an opportunity to put the Chargers on their heels a little bit. And like you said, if we can get the ball right away and put the pressure on this Chargers defense, I think it relaxed them a little bit from getting after Derek.
So what are your keys? What are things that you want, the nation to look out for next game? I know you had some back there.
Yep. So personally for me, the number one key to the game is stopping Eckler. It's slowing Austin Eckler down. It's controlling their offense because if you can make them one-dimensional, if you can force 3rd and longs and force them to pass the football, I think it bodes well for Patrick Graham's defense. You cannot let a guy like Austin Eckler get loose a ton. You really got to do your best to contain him, which I'm really curious to see the Raiders' halftime adjustments, the in-game adjustments, whether it be quarter to quarter, drive to drive, series to series, whatever the case may be. I'm really curious to see how the Raiders switch up defensively and offensively. And number 2 is creative protection for Carr. Like we were talking about earlier, you've got to put tight ends, running backs. You've got to get his legs moving a little bit. And the third is the Raiders need to be effective in red zone. This is a crucial one for me because I do believe the Raiders are going to have the ability to move the football. But the big Achilles heel for the Raiders last season has been the red zone efficiencies. So if the Raiders can find a way to make their red zones turn into points, specifically touchdowns, I think the Raiders have a real good chance to win the football game.
No, I agree 100%. I think the Austin Eckler we kind of indirectly talked about that because if we can get, if we can get them in like really obvious passing situations, that's just going to benefit us and our strengths. And our strengths is going to be that our strength on defense is our pass rush, our front 7, and our ability to get to the quarterback, in my opinion. So that makes a whole lot of sense. If we can get Eckler out the game, I don't think we can completely get him out the game because he's such a threat, all around threat, as far as like a receiving back and a running back. But I feel like if we can stop the run, because that's pretty much what you're alluding to, and get him out the game, then we have a better chance of winning that game.
So what are you looking for? What is the overall prediction of the game? Both good and bad. If it goes bad for the Raiders, what are you looking at? If it goes good for the Raiders, what are you looking at?
If it goes good, I think we were able to run the ball. We were able to run the ball. We were ready to keep them off balance, and we were able to take advantage. Just going back to what you just said as one of your keys of the game, take advantage of red zone opportunities. So if we're able to run the ball, keep them off balance, and score the ball, and then obviously put them in, obvious passing situations and get our pass rush going, and we're just beating up. Eventually, I mean, I know they got a good O-line, but hey, every O-line at the end of the day, if you're going against Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, even a good O-line is going to give up some sacks. We seen Max Crosby like play against good tackles and abuse them. So, but the way he abused them was by being put in position to succeed, being put in situations where he can succeed. So I think that's if everything goes good, we're able to establish the run and get him on timely shots and score the ball when needed, and at the same time control. If going back to like the Patriots game, for example, where Josh McDaniels was coaching up the Patriots, the time of possession was huge. The fact that they had so many plays, I feel like that's our recipe to win against a talented Chargers team like that. That's if we win. And everything goes bad. Oh my God. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to, but I think their D line just dominates our O line, and they beat up Derek Carr, and Derek Carr fumbles. And I know you mentioned a stat that Derek Carr can't hide from 76 career fumbles. That's not a good stat. And at this point, we know that if Derek Carr is getting hit that many times, he's going to give up the rock. Let's just assume that. So if we assume that, then we can at least prepare for it. And that's why I'm saying that coaching is going to be so huge this game, by getting the ball out of Derek Carr's hands, by taking timely shots, because we cannot have Derek Carr standing back there and getting hit by Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. So if everything goes bad, I think their D-line dominates, and then obviously Derek Carr turns the ball over, and the rest is history.
I'm really excited. I know it's so easy to talk about Devante and Hunter and Darren, but I am interested with the depth weapons that the Raiders have. The Mac Hollins, what is his role going to look like? You know what I mean? What is a DJ Turner going to get involved with? He's been compared to a Deebo Samuel type of role. T. Billy, what is he going to be able to bring playing his former team? You know what I mean? He's going to go into the game with some juice. Right. The Raiders are going to dial up a play or two, maybe throughout the course of the game on crucial plays and moments of the game where T. Billy might get an opportunity for a deep ball, especially with all the coverage and all the weapons getting drawn to our established starters. Is there anybody in particular, DJ Turner, Mac Hollins, T. Billy, is there anybody that you think could actually have a pretty decent game and show a lot?
I think a guy that everybody's kind of like not really talking about just because he's kind of been a journeyman player throughout this league is Mac Hollins. And I know you mentioned red zone. I think one of the reasons why he's starting is obviously the guy figured out that offense before any other receiver. So he quickly gained chemistry with Derek Carr, and he's a guy that's 6'5", got deceptive speed, but I'm not thinking that he's not going to be really that guy that they're depending on to threaten that safety. I'm saying he's going to be a guy like when they get to that red zone, you have a 6'5" guy, and then you got to worry about Devante Adams, Renfro's route running, and then Darren Waller, who's also 6'5", 6'6". I think Mac Hollins is going to be underrated, and I think he could possibly get a touchdown this game. At least.
That's big. Does he remind you at all of Andre Holmes? That's the kind of vibes I kind of
get. Andre Holmes, Tyrell Williams, big receivers, you know what I mean, that can attack the ball in the air. But yeah. Just he just needs to develop a role in this offense, and I feel like that's that role. Like, if he can be a red zone target, that'd be huge for us.
Oh, Van City, I appreciate this. I still remember when Ray had under 100 subs. It's going to be a party when he hits 1K, and man, he exploded. Man, I appreciate that. I really do.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, if y'all haven't subscribed, man, hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That algorithm is real. So for him to come back and keep coming out with content, like I said, hit that like button and sub. Smash that sub button.
And 43 of you, if any of you guys are new, man, go on over, smash that subscribe button, hit it with a like, and join what we got going on here. Weekly content, weekly live shows. You're interactive. You always have a voice here. I just seen also somebody subscribe to you, Pharaoh. Chef B just sub Pharaoh. So I appreciate you for going over to Pharaoh's channel and
Appreciate that, Chef.
subscribing. Let's see here. What about the coaching aspects between Saley and Coach McDaniels?
So to me, I think Josh McDaniels, I don't want to say he's a way better coach, but I think if I believe in the Raiders team this year and I feel like they're going to do what I think they're going to do as far as be a contender, I think one of the reasons why the Raiders are going to be good is not because they have talent in key positions, is because they have coaching, and that's led by Josh McDaniels. And the combination of Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr, I think, is going to be huge. Yeah, yes, sir, EJ. It's the same channel, brother. It's the same channel.
There's a name for it right there.
Yep. But I don't think Brandon Staley is that bad of a coach. I think he's still learning his way. I think he's a great defensive mind. I like his aggressiveness, but he needs to dial up that aggressiveness a little bit. You know what I mean? You got to manage the game. Being a coach is not just about going on a fourth down every play. You got to manage the game a little bit. And
why don't you drop him with that? Why don't you drop him with that stat you gave me about fourth down?
Yeah, they're actually the Chargers were actually fourth in conversions last year in fourth down. So they're actually one of the best teams on fourth down. So they had a reason to be confident. The issue is that you also have to manage the game. You can't just go for it on fourth down, your own 15-yard line. I'm exaggerating, but like you get the point. We remember the last game of the season where he literally went for it on, I think it was like the 25, 30-yard line. It was something really crazy. You can't do that because if you lose it, it's too big of a loss. The fact that we're easily in field goal range, that's points right there. But like I said, I think Staley's kind of figuring out his way as a coach, and I don't think he's that bad of a coach. I think, in my opinion, but some people might think that he's going to be going for fourth down every play, but I think he learned a little bit from his mistakes.
Yeah, I think that one play in particular kind of came back to haunt him. Like it gave this whole narrative about his entire season. And you got to like an aggressive style of offense. That means he believes in his guys. So I don't necessarily always view that as a bad thing. Now, that one particular play, and granted, that play might also be taken out of context. I would have to go back and see if that was in the fourth quarter, if a game was on the line, what kind of situation they were necessarily in, because it kind of actually would have maybe made sense. So I'd have to go back and assess that play specifically. But really, I mean, Raider Nation, are you going to be mad if Josh McDaniels is ranked fourth in the National Football League on fourth down because he believes in his weapons? I mean, it makes your offense more dynamic and harder to stop. A lot of teams think, hey, if I can stop this offense on 3 plays, they're a lot easier to stop, to where if you have an offense with all these kind of weapons and you have to stop them now on 4 plays, your odds, I mean, what is the math? I mean, it's 2.5 yards a carry. You know what I mean? 2.8 yards that you need to convert on 4 downs. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I like aggressiveness. I like aggressive coaches, because at the end of the day, man, like the offenses they're going to score points. They're going to score points, and if you're like at the 15-yard, I used to hate when Gruden used to kick field goals.
Oh, I know.
It's like we had a long drive, and it's like we're on the 3-yard line, and he used to kick the field goal. I'm like, yo, go for it.
Yeah, no kidding. What I mean? Like, put together this great drive. All these.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We kind of talked about it last week, right? With Gruden, it was like, he did such a good job at scheming guys open and moving the football down the field. But it's like, as soon as they got in the red zone, it's like he threw out his playbook and grabbed another one of just dud plays. And it never worked out. And like you said, we'd be 3 yards away. We had weapons, especially at that time. We had the Ruggs, we had Renfro, we had Waller, we had Moreau. You have these guys, spread these defenses out a little bit and make them cover every inch of the field. I mean, learn from the Chargers, learn from the Kansas City Chiefs, these teams that have kind of been a thorn in your flesh a little bit in recent history, and being aggressive. That's something that John Gruden lacked, and I think that Josh McDaniels can pick that up and improve upon that this season.
But it's funny though. If you guys remember when the Raiders finally beat the Chiefs, what did it take? What did it take for the Raiders to beat the Chiefs? John Gruden actually went for it on fourth down. He was being aggressive. He was taking shots. And that's how you're going to have to win in today's NFL. Like, teams are scoring. This is an offensive league. You know what I mean? It's not a defensive league anymore. The rules have changed. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. The league wants teams to score a lot of points. So you got to adjust to that. And I think Staley is an example of that. But what happened was that he got a little too aggressive. He got a little too aggressive. He forgot to manage the game a little bit. But we'll see. Hey, I hope he keeps doing that. I hope he keeps going for it on his 15-yard line. Hopefully next game he goes for it on his 5-yard line, and then we sack Herbert. It's a safety, you know what I mean, or a touchdown, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it because I think that the Raiders have the real opportunity to keep this defensive, the Chargers defense on their heels. Like we kind of talked about it on the last show, is that element of surprise, right? We've kept this gift bundled up. We haven't let anybody see it. There's been no plays of Devante, nothing. And there's no packages, no schemes. So right off the bat, if the Raiders can jump on the Chargers and just have them second guessing the entire game, let them come up to the line of scrimmage, throw out those screen plays, get the ball out quickly, avoid the turnovers, don't hold on to the football for an extended amount of time. Pick your shots, maybe target the receivers that are on the depth of this roster, and maybe go up against those depth defensive backs that you were bringing up earlier. This is going to be a game of matchups, and it's going to be a game that I honestly think, with the amount of talent that's on both sides of the football, the Raiders, the Chargers, it's going to come down to which coach puts their players in the best chances to succeed and which coaching staff can come up with the best game plan. I think what coach can really come up with the best adjustments in the football game. I think that's going to be a crucial aspect to this football.
Facts, like and like you said, it's going to be a chess game, and like McDaniels alluded to today in his press conference. He was talking about how we don't know what to expect. They got new personnel, but he got something up his sleeve.
Oh, for sure.
He played against this defense. He knows what type of defense Brandon Staley runs. Like I said, we brought up the box score of the Patriots and the Chargers last year. That was a defense that McDaniels game planned against. So he knows a little bit what to expect, but he's just trying to play it coy. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to show his hand. Obviously, he's smart. You don't want the enemy to know what you're gonna do. But at the end of the day, like, McDaniels is gonna be ready. Hopefully, be ready next Sunday.
So overall, Raider Nation, look, this is going to be a game that's extremely hard. The Raiders are not in for an easy football game. They're going to have to show up and play football. You're going to have to get the best Raiders, and it's got to go against the best Chargers. And in my personal opinion, I think the Raiders have the unpredictability. I think they have the better coaching staff, and I think that they can put their players in position to win. For me, I've got a 27-24 victory for the Raiders, or a 30-27. It could really come down to whoever has the football last and who can make the most adjustments in the football game. So overall, Raider Nation, I feel pretty good going into this football game. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a dogfight, and the Raiders have to put their best foot forward. I ultimately have the Raiders winning the football game. Farrell, where are you at?
Early on, I said it was going to be 35-24. So I'm going to stick to it, but I think that it's going to be a close game throughout, and then late in the game, we're going to pull away. We're going to make some plays, and we're going to pull away. I think that's the type of game it's going to be. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a close game throughout. But I think later in the game, we're going to pull away, because I think just looking at the talent on the Chargers have, I feel like they had, like I said, they had a whole offseason to think about what happened last offseason. We're going to get their best. Look, Raider Nation, we're going to play 3 divisional opponents in the first 5 games. This is going to be a huge game for us. You know what I mean? Just to start off the season with a statement is going to be big. And division games, especially the AFC West, as tough as it is, are going to be big. So, man, I think 35-24 Raiders.
Oh, 35-24. You think they put up points?
I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to it. I know I said it earlier. I'm gonna stick to it. I was thinking about changing it. But I'm just gonna stick to it.
All right, Raider Nation. This is your opportunity to pull up and then show your love. This is where you get all your questions asked. Me and Pharaoh are going to sit here, chop it up with you. If you got a question for Pharaoh, you have a question for myself, specifically about the game, matchups, whatever the case may be. Nation, this is the opportunity for you to get your voice heard. And we're going to start off with Jack Kenna dropping a question. The Raiders need 2 more players, one at right tackle, the other at DB. What do you guys think?
I think they need to stick with the players they have. I mean, if they waited this long, at the end of the day, like, it's going to be tough for them to bring in a player at those positions and to learn the offensive and defensive schemes. But things will happen. They're going to have to make the adjustments. But I think at this point, they already made their decision. and their decision was to stick with what they have. So
Yeah, it's too honestly, Jack. It's too late to bring in a right tackle to plug and play immediately. There's a lot of chemistry at that. This isn't just you go sign a guy, plug him in, and all your problems are taken care of. Especially with the players that are on the market. There's a reason why Darrell Williams is still out there. And to bring him in here, he doesn't have any chemistry, any reps. These guys have been developing not only on the field. You guys have to think this goes deeper than that. It goes off the field, the amount of time they spend together, the care that they have for one another, the relationship with the quarterback. There's a lot that goes into developing a good offensive line, and to go out there and bring in a guy right away, you're not going to see much. And for the defensive back position, unless you go out and make a trade for a guy who's familiar with the Patrick Graham scheme, it's kind of the same situation. You're not going to go out there and just grab a guy who's going to be plug and play. This defense isn't as easy and simplified as Gus Bradley. These DBs are going to have to learn a lot. They have to communicate a lot. There's a lot when it comes to switches and disguises. There's just a lot to learn when it comes to the defensive back room. So do I think that they go out there and grab a guy eventually? Yeah. Or maybe promote a guy that's been with them the entire offseason off the practice squad. That's something that I could see. But really, the roster that you guys have right now, this is what we got to roll into the season with. Like week 1, this is what you're getting. So the guys that are currently on the roster, the guys who are going to go in there and play Sunday, they're going to be the ones that have to go out there and beat the Chargers.
Facts.
Let's see here. GA says Ray and Farrell penalties cost us 1,000+ yards last season. How many wins does controlling penalties add to us? 1 or 2 at least.
You know what? I don't see that being an issue just based off the preseason. I mean, they look well coached up. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. And I feel like McDaniels has kind of put an emphasis on, like not basically having penalties. I mean, like literally in training camp, what I think they would run laps or a mile if they had a penalty. So it kind of stuck with the players, and I guess it's working. Whatever McDaniels is doing, it's working because it's shown up in games. I know it's the preseason, but if you can get guys who are not going to even make the team to be coached up like that, imagine the starters, imagine the players that are actually going to be playing during the regular season. That means players have bought in, and I don't think it's going to be as an issue, but we are the Raiders, and the refs do like to pull that flag, even if like we didn't even do a penalty. So
Exactly.
Who knows?
And that's going to pop up a lot. In preseason, you're letting a lot of these, the NFL is not just going to be throwing a ton of flags in the preseason. A lot of these guys are developmental pieces. You'd be throwing flags left and right. So it feels like in the preseason, they kind of let these guys go out there and play a little bit. So which is why I think you've seen the penalties down a bit. There's a lot of plays where I was going back on film, and whether it be Malcolm Kuntz being held, and also our offensive linemen getting a little handsy as well. So it goes both ways. So in the regular season, you're going to see a lot more calls, Raider Nation. It's just, it is what it is. We all know how the refs are with the Raiders. We're going to have to go against our team, and we're going to have to go against the refs. That's just facts.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add, I'm gonna have to see it on Sundays because I'm with you. I've been a Raider fan for a long time, and penalties have always been an issue with us. But we'll see. We'll see. So far, from what I've seen in preseason, it looks like McDaniels was able to do something that worked, I guess.
Demon says they have no clue what we're doing. They can't game plan for us, which is why I think it's a huge advantage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The Raiders can be as unpredicted as they want to be. They can throw as many formations at the Chargers defense as possible, which is why I like the Raiders getting the Chargers in a week 1, especially the amount of talent that this Chargers defense has. If you can kind of get them out of rhythm, out of sync, and really for that first half, if you can get a good significant lead and create some separation, I think the Raiders bode pretty well. GA Patriot says AFC West is tough. We play 4 to 6 playoff games a year during the regular season. And you can make the argument that the winner of this division could really make a deep run and maybe a potential shot at the playoffs. I mean,
especially
that's how
this year.
Yeah,
especially this year.
That's how good this defense, that's how good this division is.
Yep.
Chef B says, do you guys think that's why they went and got Bars and Cole back?
I think that was big. I think anytime you have players that were competing in training camp who didn't make the team, and you're able to bring back those same veterans to the practice squad, because injuries do happen in the NFL. Like, and the thing is that we've seen with even Deshaun Jackson or players that we pick up in the middle of the season, how really effective they are. It's just too hard to pick up random players from different teams and then have them come on the field and be ready. But you have guys on the practice squad that are, they're solid. And if something were to happen to any of our receivers, God forbid, you could just plug in, Cole. You could plug in a Alex Bars. I'm not saying that they're the most talented, but at least they know what to do. The coaches are comfortable with them. They're able to like they're able to just plug in and play pretty much.
No, and I like that. And look, there's 46 of you. Go smash the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Smash that like button, man. It goes a long way. Like Pharaoh says, the algorithm is real. Raider Nation, drop your questions down below because this is where you guys' voice is going to be heard. Let's see here. The Holland's Mile, pass, no discipline. Now let's hope. And discipline is going to be a huge aspect, I think, moving forward for the Raiders, not only on the offensive side of the football, especially with the offensive line issues. Think of how many false starts. I mean, think of I know he's not here with us anymore, but the Leatherwood situation, the offensive line, the holding calls. I'm not completely sold on Lester Cotton. I don't know how you feel about Lester Cotton, but I'm still kind of not sold on that situation. And it kind of makes me worry about, hey, putting Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack on the right side, sending pressures. There's a lot to watch. How do you feel about Lester Cotton?
I think the Chargers they're going to test it. They're definitely going to test it. They're going to be like, oh, they got a first-time starter in Lester Cotton, and they got a Luminor, a guy that I believe played a little bit of right tackle last year during that Chargers game where they kind of handed it to us last year. I think he played that game. I mean, I know Leatherwood struggled that game, but I think Luminor at some point came in that game as well. But they know that player as well, and the Chargers are going to try to take advantage of it. They're going to test it. Lester Cotton, at the end of the day, he is a first-time starter. He did, win the job in training camp. He won over the coaching staff, but at the end of the day, it's all about what you do on Sundays. It's a prove it league, and you got to prove it on Sundays.
Daniel Kim says the chess match is in-game adjustments. It's going to be fun to watch, but I think our weapons at his disposal. McDaniels is going to dictate the rhythm and have the Chargers on their heels this whole game, and it's got to be a crucial aspect of right. And I think the big knock on John Gruden was his ability to adjust. It felt like he made absolutely no adjustments when it came to in-game production. Always going into the second half with the same type of game plan, and the other teams were able to adjust, and it really hurt the Raiders. And maybe that's a lot to do with the red zone issues. Maybe teams were really picking on the things that John Gruden liked to do, and there was a lack of creativity and lack of scheming. And I agree with you, Daniel. Adjustments are going to be key.
Facts. 100%.
D Menace says Cotton will pass the test, bro. I hope. Richard says Jermaine is going to surprise everyone. I think of them, I like Jermaine Illuminor more than I like Lester Cotton. Just has a lot more football under his belt. Just seems like his offseason has been remarkable. Like I said, I've been banging on the table for Jermaine since week 2 of the preseason, really after that Jacksonville Jaguar Hall of Fame game when I was seeing the reps that he was getting on the right tackle position. He's just playing good right now. Jermaine has found himself. It's like the light bulb came on. Some guys, the light doesn't come on until year 5. And it just looks like with his film, at least in the preseason, he really handled himself well, didn't allow any sacks, no penalties. That's what you're looking for in a starting right tackle.
But hey, man, like I said with Cotton, they're gonna test Luminor.
They are
every week. It's you know what I mean. The other team gets paid too, so and they're gonna know that hey, we got first time starters in Cotton and Luminor. They're gonna attack them.
Gia says our O-line ain't great, but our backup offense was moving the ball and scoring against starting defenses with this offensive line. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people say. Am I wrong? I don't think that they're going to be great, and I don't think that they're going to be the worst in the league. I think this has gotten pretty blown up. There, like I said earlier, there's ways to adapt around a bad offensive line, and historically, the Patriots have done a really good job of taking guys that you necessarily don't even know their name. They're from lower grade schools, and they find a way to get it done. Really, it comes with passing schemes, specifically the rules that are built in the offensive, by the offensive line coach, Coach Brasillo. He has certain techniques, certain rules, and certain gap disciplines. It's really getting these guys. Getting the chemistry down when it comes to stunts. That's a very, very complex thing to learn, right? Is when a defensive end moves over 2 gaps and now your center has to pick up the outside guy and learning how to pass those guys off. That's where I'm more curious to see where this offensive line is at. One-on-one wise, they're okay. They're big, powerful, strong guys. It's the IQ of this offensive line, and can they maneuver when bullets are flying?
That and GA, man, like it is the preseason, so it's vanilla. You know what I mean? Like the team, the defense and offense know exactly what the other team is going to be doing, and they're not going to go outside of that because at the end of the day, like they're they're not going to show too much during a preseason. It is what it is.
Yep. EJ says Illuminor gave credit to Max, I believe, for that. Yeah, and Illuminor came out and said how big and crucial Max Crosby and Chandler Jones were this offseason, helping him get his diet down, getting those reps in. It's huge when these players buy into a scheme. And I kind of addressed it last live is look at Alex Leatherwood's demeanor, not even addressing the media in the locker room. And then look at a player like a Jermaine Illuminor who's humble enough, courageous enough to stand up on the stage and say, hey, look, this is probably my last shot at being a starting right tackle and being the player that I want to be. To see Jermaine go all in on that and understand and put it out there where he's actually at in his career and face that heads on, that's crucial, man. You got to absolutely love that. And Jermaine looks good, man. He slimmed down a lot. Jermaine looks in shape. So if Jermaine is in shape, his head is in the right place, he's confident mentally. His preparation is there. Max Crosby's giving him praise. Chandler Jones is giving him praise. When those two elite defensive ends are talking up a guy like a Jermaine Illuminor of how much he's developed, we've seen this in times past with a few players, right? Specifically like Nicholas Moros. And when you get this offseason, when guys are talking about guys on the roster that have really come a long way, you got to keep your eyes on that.
Yeah, and you know what? I love this comment. I love what you're saying right now, because this is the impact of having great players.
Right.
This is the impact of having great players. They make other players around them better. You know what I mean? And let's move to another position group. You know what I mean? Devante Adams and the impact that he's had on that secondary. When you hear in training camp how they've been going back and forth, they've been competing. Guys like Avery talking about how much better they're getting because they're going against Devante Adams. They're asking him questions. They're like asking him like, oh, how do you do this? What do you do in this situation? You know what I mean? And then to the point where Mullen gets traded because Hobbs is over there going back and forth with Devante Adams, and obviously Derek Carr didn't have an interception in training camp for the longest, and then throws a pick six to Hobbs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that all kind of stems from having great players, because when you have great players, the competitiveness goes even higher, and then you have that ability to actually iron sharpens iron. It's a beautiful thing to see. And that's
we're gonna see a real display of that this Sunday, right? Going against a Keenan Allen, who I think Hobbs is primarily going to be up against. You're gonna see that work that he got with Devante this offseason and how that translates onto Sundays, onto the football field. And don't be surprised, Raider Nation, when Hobbs comes out and has a big game. Like, I think Hobbs has a potential to have a coming out party this year. I know last year for Raider Nation he emerged, and the Raiders fan base knows how good Nate Hobbs can be. But I think, Raider Nation, that Hobbs is going to step into the National Football League narrative of really emerging as one of those top cornerbacks that everybody around the nation's talking about. Daniel Kim says, I think McDaniels is going to keep Bosa and Mack not teeing off on the snap count with a heavy run and to keep them somewhat honest. You got to make them work. You got to make them work. You got to get it creative. Queen is in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Thank you for pulling up. Much love to you.
Salute, Queen.
She says Ray. She says Pharaoh. Shout out to you, Queen, man. I appreciate you for pulling up. Van City says, for sure, let's not forget, Illuminor took most of his snaps against Mad Max, Mac, and Bosa. And look, if Jermaine Illuminor can hold himself down right on this right side and have a good game against a Joey Bosa and a Khalil Mack, Raider Nation, you should be really excited about the right tackle situation for the Raiders. Now, if Jermaine goes in there and just kills it and say he lets up maybe even just a sack or allows no sacks, what if he goes out there and really solidifies the right side? You're talking about a Raiders offense that they're working with something now. Like, if Jermaine goes out here and has a good game against these premier elite pass rushers, you could say that the biggest weakness on paper this entire offseason, maybe it's going to answer a lot of questions of why the Raiders haven't gone out there and grabbed a big name right tackle.
So Chef B saying that he had a question. I think if you want to scroll up a little bit, 740.
Let's see here.
He's asking about Phylon.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Let me see that. Okay, here it is.
One last question.
Okay, one last question. If Phylon can pass the physical, would you bring him back? Think he's got the desire to play hard, in my opinion.
Man, I like Phylon, man. I think it was just a tough situation. Him getting hurt at the end of the season and the type of injury that he had, it's just a long recovery process. So that whole offseason, like literally he signed a 1-year deal and he gets hurt at the last game of the season. Almost kind of, you can probably compare it to OBJ. You know what I mean? Like, he gets hurt in the Super Bowl, and like literally we all know how talented OBJ is. You know, he would easily get picked up by a team, obviously us too as well. But the fact that his recovery process goes into the season, it's like, man, it's tough, man. I wish he could come back if it's possible, and the Raiders think that it would be a good fit. If he can come in and contribute, I would be good for it. But I just don't think. I'm not sure if he's healthy. I'm not sure if he's healthy yet.
Yeah, in that game, it sucks for him to get injured in that game because it's arguably the biggest game of the year for him. He was really dominant when it came to
Played
running.
well too.
He played real well, and he was really emerging. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He was playing with fire, like he just was playing with his hair on fire, playing with juice, playing with passion, and he loves to be a Raider. Matter of fact, this offseason, like he has shared some of the stuff I posted about him on his IG, which I thought was awesome. Like this guy wants to be a Raider, and if Darius Philon say week 8 is available and you want to go out and get a guy that can offer you some pass rush on the interior and be a little bit disruptive. Now, scheme fit, I don't think it's as good of a fit as it was last year in the Gus Bradley cover 3, if I'm just being completely blunt. However, if you want to go out and get a cheap, affordable defensive tackle who's going to be all in and somebody you can ease their way into this defense, you could go out there and sign a Philon. D Menace says, you think Hobbs is getting an interception this game?
Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
why not?
I hope so. I hope he gets intercepted. I hope Justin Herbert throws 5 picks, gets sacked about 11 times, fumbles the ball 3 more times. We score about like 70 points. But realistically, it's possible because you know what I noticed about this defense, even in the preseason, I feel like they were turning over the ball. Like they were forcing turnovers. So hopefully that's infectious to players like Hobbs, other players that's on the squad, that's on the starting lineup. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But I think for us to even be successful or contender, we're gonna have to force turnovers.
For me, D Menace, I think the guy that's going to get the turnover is between 2 guys. I think it's going to be Trayvon Moehrig or Deron Harmon. I think you can get Justin Herbert to get bold and take a few shots, and hopefully the Raiders can get in his mouth a little bit and make him throw a ball that he wasn't wanting to throw and take a chance that he probably shouldn't have taken. Trayvon Moehrig, Deron Harmon, that's my under the radar type of guy to look for to get an interception. They just are going a little bit under the radar for me. Trayvon Moehrig is one of those guys who could really emerge onto the scene.
Hey, I didn't know we were predicting who's going to get turned. You know what? I'll throw in Chandler Jones, forced fumble. How about that?
Oh, yeah, I like that. Coming around the back edge. He's got a matchup against Rashawn Slater. I do expect him to move those guys around, though.
Yep.
Okay, let's see here. Love the discussion, guys. Got to put my kids down, staying up to listen, but I got to have reading time. Raiders, facts, man. And look, Raider Nation, we have had a heck of a show, man. 43 of you in the building. Tonight has been a phenomenal night. A lot of you guys interacting, tuning in. Even showing loyalty when everybody else is going live. Y'all have pulled up and have consistently been contributing to the show. If you guys have had a good time, man, when this video is over, go over to the comment section in the video, smash the like button, comment. Thanks to the Raider Nation, you guys, we've had back-to-back 1,000 viewed live shows, which is absolutely phenomenal. Everything goes out to you, Raider Nation, your love, your loyalty. It has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's been felt over here. So if you guys haven't yet, I'm going to post up Farrell's link real quick, and you guys go over there, subscribe to my man, puts out great content. And look,
appreciate that
for this weekly, man. I think that we're going to be putting this together weekly moving forward for preview shows and giving you guys the best opportunity to chime in. Let's see. Let's read these. I want JC Jackson to play so Devante can show him why he's the number 1 receiver in the world.
Hey, man, I did say earlier it didn't really matter who's back there, but if you're telling me Michael Davis is going to be guarding, Adams, which I think they're not going to guard him one-on-one, but at the end of the day, there's going to be opportunities for Adams to go one-on-one because we have Hunter Renfrow, we got Waller for them to just go and put 2 players on Adams. You know what I mean? We got too much talent on offense. So at the end of the day, I think that it doesn't really matter who guards Devante Adams.
Let's see here. GA Patriots says, great show, Ray and Farrow. Thank you. Hey, man. We're
appreciate that, brother.
It's a pleasure to bring you guys some good content. Edgar says, do this show every Tuesday night. We're going to work out a date. I don't know if it'll be every single Tuesday. Maybe we can make it a thing that's a Tuesday. Me and Farrow, we'll work that out behind the scenes, what works best. But you guys will as far as everything goes forward, and he's not busy, I'm not busy, you can look for a preview show every single week this season. And we're gonna look forward to bringing you guys. This is only the start, man. The show's only gonna get better. We got a lot of plans for the show. So as we move forward, you guys, it's just gonna get better and better and better. We're on the road for 1,000, man, and I can't thank you guys enough. So
yeah, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The guy is real close to 1,000, man. That's a big number, especially for a content creator. Hey, man, he wants to keep doing this. He wants to keep coming back, keep making good content. The more he keeps coming back, the more he's going to improve. But for him to do that, you got to make sure you subscribe. You got to like the video, and I'm sure you guys are doing that. But we're just doing a friendly reminder. That's all.
Yep. And thank you guys for everybody for pulling up, man. Raider Nation, we have a football game Sunday.
Yes,
It's time to be
sir.
fired up, man. Devante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, you name it. You're going to see every single bit of it on Sunday. We're here, man. We're here. The preview is over. Now we just got to wait for Sunday, man, to hear that kickoff and watch Raider football. It's finally back, Raider Nation. Pharaoh, do you have any closing comments?
Man, hey, at the end of the day, man, it's first game of the season. I'm hyped. I know everybody's hyped, man, and I'm looking for a W on Sunday, man. That's what I'm looking for.
All right, Raider Nation, man. Thank you guys for pulling up. Thank you guys for the love. As always, you guys, Sunday's coming and the Raiders have a football game. So there's one thing left, man. Just win, baby.
Peace.